Good evening, everyone, and we are here with our last live for today with Aparna Krishnan, and she has kindly agreed to tell us a bit more about Mechanism Labs and what they're going to be presenting at our summit on the 23rd and 24th of November. Well, basically the end of this week in Basel. Hey, Aparna.
Hey,
How are you doing?
excited to be here and excited to be at the Blockchain Leadership Summit. So Mechanism Labs has been doing a lot of open source blockchain research. We've been putting out great content, kind of categorizing all kinds of research that exists out there. So what we're going to be presenting at the summit is basically how to think about use cases and how to think about what blockchain protocol you want to build on top of based on the use case. And how there isn't really a best protocol, and how you got to tailor the protocol based on the use case.
You also mentioned that actually a big part of the presentation that you're going to be given is going to be focused on consensus technical analysis. Well, now, since we are mainly currently using proof of work, just because we are limited to the use of proof of work because that's the majority of networks that are there, well, do you think that there's supposed to be any trend to change like this year or the next year?
Yeah, I actually do think that 2019, so 2018 was a year where a lot of proof of stake blockchains came up. And proof of stake is this idea that people who own the coins vote on how the blockchain should move forward on the consensus of the blockchain. So 2019, I actually think it's going to be the year where a lot of these blockchains launch. So it's going to be very exciting. Yeah.
So speaking about particularly like fresh developers who are just joining in, probably coming from sort of traditional IT, well, what shall they focus on? What kind of like modeling or development shall they focus on if we are expecting a change?
So I actually think the developers can continue to build on Ethereum right now, but the best of blockchains are going to have some way to help them port over, and there's going to be some way to share value between Ethereum and like whatever blockchain they choose to build on in the future. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
I guess that depends on which ones launch. So
basically,
great, yeah.
So basically now we shall really expect every new protocol to establish some foundation of developers to help the community kind of reorganize.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's really important for any protocol going forward, because Ethereum's built this huge developer community, and any blockchain that's launched, like be it EOS or Ethereum, they've all built this huge like community of people. And it's going to be important for anyone else who launches in order to be successful to have a similar community.
Well, at the same time, I mean, speaking about the technical analysis of protocols, in your research, have you paid attention to crypto or to the network analysis only?
So we've only focused on the consensus analysis, the network effects and community, all of that, I think, comes in this year when projects actually start to deliver and launch. I think so far they've been so much in stealth mode that most people probably haven't even like heard that these projects exist.
Mm-hmm. So so you think it's technology first, business second, or the other way around?
I think both of those are really important factors. I think the paper itself was a research paper, which is why it focused only on research. But it's definitely important for someone who's building a business to think of more than just the technology. Also think of these other aspects.
Mm-hmm. And do you see, let's say, well, I know that you are, I know that you're a student of Berkeley. Do you see a lot of new, like, let's say, departments at the university, like focusing on blockchain development? Do you see more more IT guys, more IT crowd paying attention to the development, or is it still like it used to be, like in 2014, 15, where it was just a bunch of geeks?
Oh, I definitely think there's been a huge shift in the number of people who are interested in it. Like, I taught a couple of classes at Berkeley on blockchain, each with like 200 people. And then recently, professors have gotten into the space and they've started teaching more classes. I think soon there might even just be a Berkeley major or a minor on blockchain.
Mm-hmm. So we actually, when we now speak that we work with blockchain, we have to give a big, broad explanation of what this actually is. So in the future, we will just have it as our major, and basically we could develop our careers in that.
Yeah, I actually do think that's a possibility. Like Berkeley just offered a data science major, and if that's a reality, I definitely see blockchain as a major coming sometime in the next few years.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's incredibly interesting because, well, we do have our summit a majority of people presenting more or less, applied implementation of blockchain, like business or industrial. But I really do appreciate that we're paying some focus to the technological research itself, and I really feel good about like universities focusing on that. That's definitely a big field of my personal interest. Now, as one of my last questions there, like when you were like, well, you were like traveling overseas to us.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for that. What do you expect from the summit? Like, what kind of crowd do you want to see there? Who are you going to be like addressing your presentation to?
Yeah, so my presentation is going to be for anyone who's thinking of like what blockchain to build on, anyone who's thinking of like use cases, anyone who's thinking of like how to compare all of these different blockchains that are going to come out and going to launch in the next year. So be them people who are interested in like investing in these projects, buying tokens, or be it like people who want to actually build on these projects. Combination of all.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that actually sounds just great. And yes, I remind everyone that Aparna will be speaking at our summit in Basel, which will take place November 23rd and 24th. And I'd really like all of you to join us and stay tuned. We will have more great stuff. And yes, please attend our summit. We want the crowd. Thank
Excited
you.
to see you all.
Thank you, and you have a good one. See you, I believe, well, already this week in Basel.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. Take care and have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Okay, so